It's Louise Scove. You're at Nadia with Luke from Falseheads, and we're about to have a little catch up because it's been a while. It's been like a whole year, hasn't it?
Yeah, I know. I think it was Sound City, wasn't it? Last
was
time?
Sound City.
Yeah, it was a long, well, not that long ago, but still.
Yeah, but it feels like a long time ago.
It was.
But it's been quite like big year for you. I mean, last time we spoke, you've done so many gigs since then. It's been like 2018 seemed quite a pivotal year for you guys.
Yeah, we did that. We did quite a lot of festivals last year. I think we went off to Croatia that year. Yeah, we did the Croatia gig, and then we did that massive long tour at the end of the year, which was pretty grueling. We did started in Ireland and ended in Hamburg, and yeah, so it was a long year. And then we did a few gigs earlier this year, and then back into festival season, and we've got a couple of tours that we're about to announce. So exciting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. But Less Is Better's come out since then, and I'm a big fan of that EP. I know I wrote a review on it, but I am such a big fan of it, and I like how you've it's a nice follow-on from Gutter Press because it's got similar issues in there, but I feel like these are a bit more personal, a bit more social focused.
What's on Less Is Better? Yellow.
That's it.
Yeah, probably. I think Sleaze is a bit more personal as well, which was the single after Less Is Better.
Yeah.
But there was some more personal stuff in there. I think it's some stuff I was going through at the time and that I was writing about a bit more personally. But obviously, I mean, there's still stuff in there that irritates me because that kind of affects me personally on a bigger scale, same kind of stuff I was talking about in Gutter Press.
Yeah.
It's only really got worse, hasn't it? Since
there's a lot of context right now in there. So much to talk about.
Obviously that EP didn't do much because it's obviously got worse instead.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's affecting people personally as well, and obviously there's stuff in there about kind of my personal problems with mental health and addiction and stuff like that, and that's directly influenced and affected by stuff that's happened on the outside and the same kind of things I was talking about in Gutter Press. And I don't think it's good for people's mental health. I don't think it's good for us as a species, the way that kind of we're interacting with each other, the way that we're divided. It's horrible, and I think it affects the individual. It's affecting the collective, and it's affecting individual people and individual spirit and thought. And I think that's only getting worse, not to sound too bleak. But our album is pretty bleak, which we've just finished writing. So it's got a lot of the same kind of themes on it, really.
Yeah. But I think touched on that as well because it's affecting a lot of young people, which I think is really scary because it's the next generation coming through, and that's what's I think the biggest thing about it, which is a little bit terrifying, really, for everyone.
Well, I think we just I don't know what we're doing, really. Honestly, I think about it, it honestly gets me so down. We just live in such a strange. I feel like we were kind of. I was thinking about this the other day. When I remember being at school and I must have been about maybe 13. Might have even been younger than that. And we were in school and they were asking if you was gonna vote, who would you vote for? And people just had an honest and open conversation, and some people voted for things that I would never vote for in a million years, and we spoke about it, and it was sort of over by the end of the day, and I was like, that wouldn't happen now.
No.
It'd be on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
And then it would be, someone on Instagram would be fucking destroyed for putting that conversation on Instagram, and probably some poor little 13-year-old have his life ruined by a bunch of fucking, morons online, and it's just a weird world we live in now. I find it. I don't know what good comes out of it. It's kind of the thing that I write about a lot. I don't know what good, because nothing's getting any better. So surely it's not a way to be. Because you've got one group of people that tell you that these people, they're the ones that are fucking your lives up, and then you've got the other people on the opposite spectrum telling these people that they're the ones that are fucking your life up, and it's just that every day, every fucking day. It's just it's bleak, man. I think it's bleak.
It is.
I don't know what the solution is either. I mean, I just sort of write about how it makes me feel.
Yeah.
I think one solution would be maybe to start interacting with each other a bit more on a more personal level. Have a fucking people that tell you can feel it. It's weird, man. When you're in a pub or you're in a bar, certain topics are just instant tension. And you think to yourself, why is that even that controversial?
It's just the world we live in now, and it's just kind of all going like that, which is a shame.
That's the worst part of it. It's I feel like people are being snuffed out because eventually you just give in, don't you? Because you can't be asked for an argument, or you can't be asked for your Facebook or your Twitter or whatever to be fucking like dragged into the public sphere for having like a slightly different opinion to someone else.
Yeah.
So people just go like, yeah, sure, like, yeah, fine. And they can't be asked to have an opinion on something. And I would probably still like to think that most people, even though there's a large amount of people on both ends of the kind of political spectrum that are nasty, are horrible, they just want to control you. They tell you these people are fucking your life up, they tell you these people are fucking your life up, stir up all that kind of nonsense. And anyone that looks at nuance or context or like anything like that, who I think probably still are the majority, just get snuffed out by them too. And eventually they're like, I can't be asked.
Yeah.
I can't be bothered. Why would you bother as well? Because it's all encapsulated. It's not, I had a fucking row with this guy at work today, and you can get home and escape it.
Yeah.
That is work, is Facebook and Twitter.
It stays,
It's unescapable.
We can channel that into music though. I think there's a lot of good punk coming out at the moment because of that, and there seems to be some really great artists coming up at the minute. What's your kind of like view on the punk scene at the minute?
I mean, it's kind of inevitable that like I think it's growing, because I think there's a lot of people that are frustrated, feel isolated. So I think it's good that, like, you know, it's kind of at least people are channeling it into their music. But even that can be quite kind of a weird fucking like melting pot of. Well, actually, no, melting pot's not really the wrong word. But it's like even that can be a strange environment, because you kind of have to have set fucking opinions on that to like. Otherwise, you get fucking lambasted for not being this, or don't have enough woke points to be, you know, whatever. It's a strange, I don't know. Yeah. But I think it is making people write more music, and I think that's a good thing.
But it's good that at your gigs there is like a release there, which I really like. I think the build-ups in your tracks, which I always mention to everybody, if I ever describe you, I'm like, listen to the build-up and it drops and it's like, bam, which I think is really good because it gets everybody ready at the gig to go crazy. But I think that's right. So when you're kind of writing, how does that kind of start, like the musically, to kind of like bring in that build-up?
Like that. It's sort of weird because we do it a lot now. But it's like, I guess it's not a terrible trademark to have, and I do really like it. Like, and I feel like kind of reflects the lyrics a lot of the way, because a lot of it is frustration and anger, and then at some point it just fucking drops into something that's, I mean, people expect it now, but kind of unexpected, and shifts the energy of the track. It's I think that normally like we'll start with a chord pattern or a riff sequence, and we'll just jam on it in rehearsal, and me or Barney will come up with like a melody on top, and I'll normally sit at home and be like, I like that vocal line, I'll put that over and I'll write some lyrics, and then we do sometimes quite a lot come to a part where we're like, right, like a little bit too kind of standard or straightforward, like what are we going to do? And that's probably the most conscious effort, but even that sometimes comes like we'll be jamming on the track or a riff, and I'll just change the riff slightly, and we'll be like, oh, that's cool, and then we'll be like, right, that's going to be its own standalone section. I just like the tracks having that, really, because I just think like sometimes a lot of our songs don't have like they're like conventionally structured, but there's always something that, like Sleaze, the end and the beginning is like two different songs essentially. But it kind of, and we make quite a lot of effort to make sure that the shift feels quite seamless at the same time. Hopefully we pull that off, I don't know.
I think, well, it's Sleaze in particular, like, because I played that on BBC Radio Nottingham, and that is probably different to what's ever been played on BBC Radio Nottingham. So I think you basically woke everybody, oh, you're welcome, not a problem, and everyone really enjoyed it as well. It was such a big track. But you kind of like enthrall people with your music, and I think that's you know, it shows.
Yeah, I think like that's something that we really do try to like get across, and what's quite nice, like I said, it's not always a completely forced thing that happens. We always want something that's a little bit out of like nowhere or a little bit out of the ordinary, but it does, a lot of times it does come quite organically. So it makes the writing process quite easy. But like I said, we've just kind of finished the album, so we're gonna have to now it's a bit it's weird. I don't really know what to do now.
We'll touch on that in a minute, but your video, I like the video for Sleaze as well. I like how it's kind of got that kind of inner mind kind of vibe to the whole thing. Did you come up with the concept for that one?
Not really. Like our friend Briggy, who did Yellow too, who's brilliant, who's a brilliant videographer. I just kind of said her roughly what like the lyrics were about, and which was kind of like kind of addiction really at the time, or a lot of it was, and like she just came up with the idea and we really liked it and we went with it. So that was kind of it really.
But the album as well, because I think last time I spoke to you, you said it was like 3.5 years in the making or something. It's taken a long time. So how does it feel to finally have it there on your lap?
Oh, it's great. Like it is brilliant, and I'm like we're all really proud of it. And I think for reasons that were irritating for us that it took so long. At the same time, it was nice. I think we were in a nice position where it's almost like a hybrid of a debut album and a second album, because we've been writing songs for such a long period of time and we've not had a chance to put out an album that we could be quite picky about it, and we put brand new tracks on there, and we reworked some old ones, and we're like genuinely we're all really happy for it, and I think people are going to like it. I mean, I do think people will like it. I think people are going to respond to it well. And it feels great, finally.
I'm so excited to hear it. I genuinely am buzzing because I'm a big fan of you guys. But so who have you been like working with on the album? Who have you been recording with? Is it someone you've been working with like previously?
We did the demos with a guy, Johnny Hux, who did Less Is Better. So we demoed it, a lot of it with Johnny, and then we did it with for like it was a lot of it was to do with like time constraints really and different things like that. Kind of split up, so we did like the demos with Johnny, and then we did the album with Matty, who did Sleaze. So that was it, and we went in. We did 2 different studios in Cambridge, stayed there, I think for 1 week, then we come back for a few days, then did another week. We stayed there, so we kind of it was weird. It was like we sort of just live in the process really. We was actually like living in the places we were recording there. And I'm glad we did it that way, because it was it feels like it was a actual period of our life, like a little section of our life.
You immerse yourself a lot more into it then, don't you? So I mean, because you reworked Retina as well, didn't you? So how did you feel about the change? Because it was quite different, but I liked it. I did like it.
It's one of them things where I think it's fans still haven't quite caught up to that, which I understand. A lot of the times, like I saw some people complaining like about the Fontaines album that like it had tracks in there that was reworked and they were old and stuff, but I think people have to realise like it's different now. Like it's so hard to, you don't just get like a very few people, unless your dad's someone, get a contract like a year in and they're like, that'll do. It takes a lot of bands 3-4 years to get an album, so you're putting stuff out because you've got to build it up, which probably wouldn't have happened exactly the same way maybe 30 years ago. Although I imagine bands are obviously still re-releasing, re-recording singles, but it is a lot more prominent now. But it's because it's harder, and a lot of tracks that we've put out I want on the first album, so they're going to go on there. And Retina was the same. I wanted it on the EP, and we re-recorded it because, well, one, we had to, but two, we thought we're going to re-record it, might as well rework it a little bit. And then there's two different people can still go and listen to the other one. Because I already know that there'll be some people that will complain about a few tracks.
Can't please everyone, can you?
Yeah, exactly. But you can't, and the old versions will still always be there. So
exactly. Exactly. It's still out on the ether, so you can still have a listen to it. But I think that's great about what you were saying about kind of dropping an album at the right time, because you don't want it to go unheard. You want to kind of build it up, and you want the excitement. Because Sleaze, that's the first track we've heard from the album, isn't it? Or the new tracks, that is. So.
No, Sleaze. Yeah, Sleaze will be an album.
So
Sleaze was like kind of the taster. We had it recorded, and then we were like, right, we're gonna do the album with Matty, and we're gonna have it on the album. So we thought we'd put it out as like a taster single. It's not the lead single, but it's like a taster of kind of the album.
It's a good tasty single to put out there for a taster.
Exactly.
Now you've got some really good, exciting gigs coming up this summer as well, and you've just played Greatscape, you played Camden Rocks, but you've shared the stage with the likes of Queens of the Stone Age and David Byrne. So how were those experiences for you, like kind of sharing the stage with such amazing artists?
It's everything that you want, really. It's what you, and I felt that kind of cemented to me that we were doing the right thing. We walked off and played in front of like a really big a really big crowd on a main stage, and I just felt like we can do this. Like we won over a load of people that we'd never. I highly doubt maybe less than 10% had probably ever heard of us before, and we got a really good response from the crowd. It was one of my favourite gigs, if not my favourite gig. And I walked off thinking like, look, we can do this. Like, there's no reason why we can't. And they're the sort of experiences. And Queens of the Stone Age, one of my favourite bands, one of Barney's favourite bands. And David Byrne, like, it's mad. Like when I was a kid, my dad would put like Stop Making Sense on, and you know, he realised that like it is doable. You know, it is doable, and you just have to be determined. And you know, that's most of it's determination. Probably 1% of it's talent, which obviously I clearly show it. It is most of it's determination.
Of course, you've got to keep
going.
Yeah, that's it. And you've got Rock People coming up as well, where you're showing the stage like Franz Ferdinand, Mannix, and the Subways, which made me really happy because of my teenage life.
I love the Subways.
Oh, they're so class.
As a kid, like, that was just like that band that was like, you were at a party.
Oh, yes.
Put them on, it's like drinking like WKDs in the corner, like,
Rock and Roll Queen was the one.
Everyone loved it as well, like Chavs and indie kids and like everyone was on them tracks, everyone loved it.
They brought everybody together, look at that.
I genuinely can't wait to watch them.
Genuinely. I'm seeing them at Wind Up Festival, so I'm generally very excited about that. But so what's coming up for the rest of the year? Obviously you got the album, what else can we expect to see from you guys?
We've got a few different tours in the works that we're just finalising. A couple of sports. One sport, I'm not too sure about that, but something's going on, a sport tour and our own tour as well, and there's a couple other shows we're just finalising with some other bands, but yeah, we're going to be announcing some tours within the next month or two, and some shows separately outside of that tour, and a lot of it we're just literally putting together like the album plans, really.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
When we're going to be doing this and we're going to be doing that, and finalising the release date. So that's kind of what we're doing. It is, no, it's great.
Yeah.
Like we've like genuinely, like, you know, I always find it a little bit cringe when like bands put up some fucking like, oh, like we've been through like so much and everything, but we genuinely have been through quite a lot, and like we've had a bit of a rough time in certain aspects, and certain aspects of the industry we've learned early on that are just horrible. And you know, I'm really pleased with the album. I think the album hopefully solidifies that all that shit was worth it.
That's it.
Blood,
sweat and tears gone into it.
Was worth it as well.
It is. It definitely is. I'm so excited, and it's lovely to chat to you again, Luke. Thank you so much, and best of luck for the rest of the year.